so let's take a look at this bad boy. All right, let's see. Looks like we got a little bit of something. Maybe. You guys can't probably even see it on stream, but do you know if graders use machines like this? I would say yes. Because, you know, cards like this really need to be looked at. You know, if you're looking at thousands of cards, eye fatigue is a real thing. So if you have tools like a microscope, it kind of helps. So like, for example, this little dust, that leaf energy, kind of get rid of it. Sometimes I do use glove germ. It just depends on what card. I just know for a fact that these cards aren't worth grading for the most part. I'm just trying to improve them as best I can. But at the end of the day, once these are done, I have just a microfiber cloth that I'll kind of do a quick review and just kind of wipe off the thumbprints. One of the biggest things as well with using the tip in water to try to get rid of those dirt marks is gloves, for me personally, make it a lot harder to determine how hard I'm pressing on a card. Because you obviously want to press too hard because you don't want to make any more dents. But that's just personal preference. I'm doing like exactly what you're seeing. You know, since probably graded cards doing this when I haven't had, like, we just had one submission not long ago that just went through this, and most of them luckily came back as 10s. If I try to just brush my card with a dry Q-tip before sending them out, do I risk? Oh, that's a good question. I would say, you know, just obviously be very gentle. It's kind of hard for me to articulate really how hard, like, the pressure I'm using. Again, that's why I elect not to use gloves for certain cards that I'm cleaning specifically. But yeah, you want to be as gentle as you can. Like, there's really very limited circumstances where you would use a dry Q-tip. In that case, if you were to ever be in a position where you would think to use a dry Q-tip, I would use a microfiber cloth instead. But that's just me. Let's see if this is something. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, like this Erika's Venusaur. You know, we have, so this is kind of the stuff that I'm looking for. So, do you send the card to a grading company after you clean them for people? Yes, I rarely will send them to PA. That service is still in the works. So one of the things that people ask is, you know, how much does white overall grade? So something like this, for example, right, is we have some whitening here on that right side. And as we kind of shift over on the left, so right away, you know, this is, if we're just kind of looking at whitening and corners, like, we're already out of the near mint range. We have some on that bottom left corner. I'm kind of turning it around, make it a little bit more visible. Have some mild, so all four corners have some whitening, so that's obviously going to take some of that grade away. So if I kind of like review this up close here, right, so we have some scratches on the hollow foil, right, and the scratches actually might be able to come up here. Let's just go to turn. It's really the corners that have taken this card back, honestly, on the back, but so kind of shine some light right there by the leaves. Kind of scratches all over that top part. I kind of have to really expose it to kind of show you guys what I have. All those scratches in that top left hand, kind of all over the place. That was one thing I just saw in the chat not too long ago that I forgot to mention, is that you should not use any alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol, regardless of the percentage. Because you have of taking some of that ink layer off the front of the card. So it's distilled water is all you need. I've been doing that enough times, and I haven't had problems using distilled water. So the centering and the corners are actually pretty good on the front. It's really just a lot of the scratching. So right off, I think we're kind of like in that, like, a lot of these scratches, and this is actually a really good angle and focus on that. So you can kind of see a lot of these scratches all over the, I'm trying to overexpose it a little bit so you guys can see it on streamer. But a lot of those, you know, we're kind of getting out of that PSA 8 territory. We're starting to dabble into the 7, just on the front, but obviously we have to look at the back as well. So if I flip that over, and I gotta be careful, just like that. And so Now we're starting with these corners. We're starting to kind of get into, you know, PSA 6 territory. You have some whitening on 4 corners. Can you get those out? In cases, no. So these ones, cards that you're kind of seeing right now are processed, but only this whitening on the side is not folded over, which means that that blue that would be there is just gone. It's not folded. It's just, there's nothing I can really do. Because again, I only do what's within the realms of like a proper PSA submission. So I wouldn't alter this card in any way. I wouldn't, you know, fill it in with like a blue marker, for example. Nothing crazy like that. But talking to scratches on the hobby, do anything with that. Because kind of going back, talking about alterations, strictly from a PSA grading perspective, any solution like a card wax is actually recognized as an alteration. And as a small business, that grading is a large part of the success of my business. I have a very low risk tolerance, which basically that I find it too risky to try to fill in some of those just to potentially get a better by using something like a card wax. So unfortunately, from my perspective, there's no way that I can fill in or improve those scratches aside from, you know, if there's gunk or something. Yeah, I know with the white in all 4 corners, some scratches on the and really the only thing that I'm looking for is if there's any, because like the magnifier is good, but you know, with creases, something like that, it's a bit tougher. So I'm thinking that this card, aside from like that mild whitening on the corners, there's really not much else that I can see. I'm really trying to kind of look off screen because I have a little bit more lighting on the left here. And so I'm probably thinking, let's see. So I'd probably like light play. Because the scratches, like, you know, I quick glance like this. Like, yeah, there are some, but the front's actually solid in terms of the corners and the edges on the front. It's really just the back with the mild white corners. But then again, that might be like a little bit of a, probably constitute as a bend in that top left. So that one I'm trying to press out again. That one might be what you can probably do. It's kind of nice that I'm catching that now. So probably with that, like this bend, I'm probably going into like the really high mod play, low light play. I always say for conservative wise, I'd probably call it mod play, which is totally okay.